everybody, it's Scully. So this is so embarrassing, I'm sorry. I really contemplated if I wanted to talk about this, but I I figured it would be very helpful information for anybody watching, especially because it's something I've been dealing with. But I wanted to talk about a condition called Galactorrhea. Uh, this does pertain to mental health medication to some degree, which is why I wanted to bring up this topic, as medication can cause this. Not always. But galactorrhea is a condition with which it causes you to lactate from your breasts without being pregnant. It can happen in men and women. It's more atypical in men, of course. Which is why it's a greater cause of concern if it is happening in somebody who's male. It can happen out of both breasts, or it can happen out of just one. If it's happening out of just one breast, that's also a greater cause of concern because then you worry about breast cancer. Now, that doesn't always necessarily mean you have breast cancer if you are lactating from just one breast, but that is something that they do rule out. They also, especially if you're female, they want to rule out pregnancy because it is common to lactate towards the end of your pregnancy, and of course after you give birth and you're nursing, you're supposed to keep producing milk to feed your child. So there can be certain conditions that can cause this. If you have a tumor on your pituitary gland, it can cause you to lactate from your breast because it alters your hormone levels. If you have high prolactin levels, you're going to lactate. There are medications such as Risperdal, like antipsychotic medications, that can cause lactation from the breasts even when you're not pregnant. If you stop this medication, from what I understand, the problem is usually supposed to resolve when you discontinue the medication. Your doctor can, switch you to another medication, just to try to see if the problem will resolve. But in some cases, lactating from the breast can happen with unknown causes, where your labs are normal, not pregnant, and for whatever reason, you're just still lactating from your breast, you're still producing milk for unknown reasons. So, sadly, antipsychotic medications, like any medications, mental health medications, can have side effects. If you're lucky, maybe you don't experience a lot of them. Maybe you only experience a couple. Maybe you experience none. Maybe you experience a whole bunch of them. Everybody's different. Some people will even go so far as to do the gene site testing to see if they respond to certain medications, have less side effects. Some medications have gene site interactions. So that's another good reason to get that kind of testing done if you're somebody who's had to try a lot of different medications and you haven't had a lot of success. I made a video talking all about medications and mental health. I kind of go more in depth on some of that. But yeah, with the lactating from the breast, it's, I don't know really how common it is, but this is something that I have never dealt with before. I'd heard of it. I'd heard of certain medications causing it, and maybe even certain conditions. I've heard of it happening to both men and women, but to actually experience it was kind of gross, to be honest. I really had no idea what was going on, having to take pregnancy tests to be sure that I wasn't pregnant, which I'm not, and even getting blood tests and stuff done at my doctor. And she, she did a good job explaining to me that, it could be a pituitary tumor, or, it could be medications. Oh, well, it doesn't seem like your medication's causing it, so I guess we gotta do further testing to see what's going on. So, if you're somebody that's experiencing this condition, just know that you're not alone, and it's nothing to be ashamed or embarrassed of. It's just our bodies do very weird things when hormones are out of whack. Certain chemical imbalances going on. It's just your body's way of telling you that something's going on, something needs to be checked out. And don't be like me and avoid going to the doctor because maybe you're embarrassed or because you're just convinced, it's not a big deal, I'm just leaking from my breasts here and there, no big deal. Well, that's not typically supposed to happen if you're not pregnant, so that is worth getting checked out because that is just one symptom. And if you have other things, I mean, you could have other symptoms that show up later on as well. And if it is something like a pituitary tumor, those are very common. They've had autopsies of people that have had those that didn't even actually know they had them because maybe they were asymptomatic or they're just kind of in the background. But yeah, we leave the doctors in charge of that stuff just to let us know what's going on, what to do, how to treat things. So I figured I'd provide a little insight in this video about Galactorrhea. So if anybody's experiencing it, just know a little bit more about it and get it checked out and figure out what's going on. Because it's not typically supposed to happen unless you're pregnant. So don't be alarmed, don't freak out if it does happen to you. Just see if you can get some blood tests done. They, depending on your lab work, they can have you follow up with an endocrinologist to see if it is your pituitary gland or see what other things are going on in the body. So sorry if this video is kind of all over the place and just kind of random, but I'm here to provide information for you guys, and I figured with this going on, if I kept this information to myself, I don't feel like I'm helping anybody by just hoarding this information and keeping it to myself. So I wanted to provide you guys some insight on this video in case you or somebody you know might be experiencing it. So until next time, have a great day, guys.